My son was born April 22nd at 9:52 p.m. And it was one of the most important days of my life. You can tell, it's funny because, you hear the thing about like being a born again Christian, right? Where you die and you become this new person, right? And I think the same thing, not the same thing, but similar happens when you have your first kid, because that person who I used to be is done with. I just don't care about myself anymore. Not to the point where like I want to throw my life away. It's just to the point where everything I do is to better my son.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to the Dear Dad podcast. This is the place where we address dad dynamics and discuss personal experiences, stories, and poem submissions to help provide a platform for healing while simultaneously uplifting one another. Let's change the dad narrative all around. Let's go. Let's grow. Hello, you beautiful people. Thank you for joining me on the Dear Dad podcast. My name is Maxime Darius, aka BJ. Once again, we have another guest on this podcast. It's going to be pretty cool. So this guy, I think we spoke about him a few times in the podcast. I know my sisters and my brothers brought his name up a couple of times, but he's here. He's able to come in and tell his story, his journey. And I'm honored and I'm blessed that he's able to take this opportunity to talk to me, to talk to you, to share the story. And his name is Max. I know you heard his name a couple of times on the podcast. There's a reason why. And he's here to tell you his story. And there's a reason why his story is so profound. There's a reason why it's heavy and it's enlightenment. And he's here to tell us all about his journey in life and fatherhood and about his dad and about being a dad. I'm going to introduce you to my next guest, Max Darius.
Hello. Hey, everybody. This is Max Darius. For those who don't know me. Well, for those who do know me, it's Maxime as well. Everyone close to me call me Max, which is ironically my father's name. My father's name was Max Darius, and my name was Maxime Darius. But everybody called me Max. Pretty honored to be on the show. Thank you for having me, BJ.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I know I've called out to you and reached out to you so you can do this podcast.
Yes.
And because we had the sibling series of my siblings, that took most of season 1. So I know if you guys did not hear season 1, I would recommend you go back to season 1 and listen to it. Because again, he's been mentioned a couple of times, and he's here again to tell you his story. So I'm going to jump to the first question. I just want to just like dive into it. And I want you to tell me and to tell the audience, who is Max? Who is Maxine? Whichever name you want to go by. Tell the world, tell us, who is Maxine?
Maxine or Max. My brothers call me Max. Some people call me Maxine. That's the Haitian way of saying it. I'm a pretty cool guy. I'm an okay guy, but I'm also, pretty rash, pretty strong-willed. I could be hard-headed, of course.
That's an understatement.
But one thing about me is I love, pretty hard. Like my family is like everything to me, and you pretty much, if you mess with anybody in my family, you could just include me in the mix if somebody is coming after you.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. I have 3 brothers. My mom had 4 kids. She had me. I'm the second oldest. The oldest is Martin Darius. We're actually back-to-back babies. My mother had us 1 year apart. And then next is my little brother, Michael. Me and him are 2 years apart. And then 2 years later is the youngest, Jonathan, on which the funny thing is both my younger brothers on the same day. So they actually share the same birthday, which is, pretty interesting. You could say we used to like if you would think about it, we consider ourselves. I used to always consider us like the four Ninja Turtles. Like our characteristics, it just it was just like that. You had the oldest, Leonardo, who's supposed to be the leader of the group, the oldest, which is like Martin. You had me, who was pretty much like Raphael, who wore the red headband, and he's very skilled, but he was also short tempered, someone not to mess with. He was someone, he was a force to be reckoned with. And then here's the funniest part. The funniest part is you got the next two is supposed to be Michelangelo and Donatello. Donatello's supposed to be the smart one out of the bunch, but both my little brothers are dummies, and and none of them are like Donatello. They're both more like Michelangelo. So you could say they're like Michelangelo, and they both act like twins, born on the same day, and they're just the same type of person, which is it's pretty cool. So my mom had 4 kids, and my father had 7 kids. Well, that we know. My father with another lady, he had my 3 younger sisters, Margie, Maslin, and Tamila. Tamila lives over here. She lives in South Carolina. She gave me 2 nieces, 2 beautiful nieces. I'm very happy about that. Beautiful babies. Margie, at some point, she looks just like Jonathan. My father had her with a different woman in Haiti. It's spin image of Jonathan when Jonathan was younger. It's crazy. She was in Dominican Republic for a little bit, going to school, and then now she's back in Haiti. And then you have Maslin, I think she also goes by Machali. I don't know how to pronounce it right. She's also in Haiti. So 2 sisters in Haiti and 1 in South Carolina.
Cool. All right, so I just want to just change this dynamic and talk about your dad. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit briefly about your dad before I let you talk. So Max and I, we are cousins, blood cousins, you can say. Mm-hmm. So my father and his father were brothers, and they grew up together, and they went through their own ordeals. If you listen to the podcast, I know if I said my father had his own trouble growing up, relationship with his dad or our grandfather was not the best, and it's not the greatest. And I mean, I'm not going to downplay anybody. I just know it wasn't the best upbringing that he had. So raising us was not the best way he did. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not blaming him. I'm not pointing fingers. I just giving a relation. Your dad and my dad were siblings, were from the same mom, I can say.
Yes.
So we are closer cousins than anybody else. I'm not saying the family is not strong.
Yeah.
It's just that you and I and the rest of your 3 siblings, we're stronger. We have the same grandmother, so to speak. We have the same grandfather, but the same grandmother we shared. So that's a little bit about his dad and my dad. So there were the 3 of them. There was another sister or aunt of ours that passed away at early age, but there's the 3 of them, and my father and your father, and that's pretty much where our bond is, where it began, you can say. My father and his father, that's where it started. It ballooned into who we are right now. Mm. Tell me about your dad.
My father, Max Darius, but I call him Max. We all call him Max. We all call him by his first name, because I remember you guys said you would say my mother or my father. Well, that was pretty different. Right. We would just call them by their first names. And my mom, we would call her by her first name, because as she was young, they never really told us to call them mommy or daddy. But the funny thing is, as we got older, my mom, I wouldn't call her Alud anymore. I would call her mom. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, my father stayed Max. I don't think not once called him dad.
Okay.
Which speaks to the type of relationship, we have. My father, he was a person that was very good with people when it comes to friendship. He was a good friend. He would give you, if you was his friend, he would give you everything. He would try to make you happy. He loved friends. Now, as far as a father, there was, of course, some things lacking, or a good amount of things. Be a good friend, but didn't know how to be the best father. Which is, sad to say. And to fast forward a little bit, because June 24th, 2008, that's when my father left this earth. He passed. And the funniest thing was, he was a great friend to a lot of people, but it was a very, hard time for us, struggling time. And after his death, there was only a very few friends that was, still around.
Okay.
Which is very interesting, because in my view, the friends were pretty much in front of us, the kids. It was like a battle with friends, kids. It was very rough. When you grow up and you see this stuff, you're like, okay, you see this guy, he's always around. My father, bless him, be good to these people. And then after he dies, ghost. That's your friend. That's a very good friend of yours. So, the kids are probably struggling right now. You might want to check up on them, see how they're doing, see what's going on. To this day, about 90% of them don't even know what they're doing. Don't even, didn't hear from them, stuff like that. The ones that, stay in touch with mostly family, because, our family's pretty strong.
Right.
But it's, it was very interesting. He was tempered, but he wasn't abusive at all. He was somebody that really loved ladies. as you can see, with 7 kids and 4 different baby moms. So that also, I think, it was pretty much something that he looked forward to more than, his kids. Yeah. So, the funny thing is, because my father had with my mom 4 kids, and I could safely say, out of those 4 kids, I was the least loved. I'm not gonna say hated, but the least loved, because, like I said, my personality, which I think I get a lot from my mom. I was a very brash person. If something needs to be said, I said it, and I didn't hold back punches. So me and my father, we clashed a lot. We clashed a whole lot because of stuff like that. Because if I see something, I'm gonna say something, and I did, and I said it. And the old school Haitian mentality, you're not supposed to talk to grown folks like that. That's disrespectful. You're supposed to stay in your lane, stay in your place. But I didn't see lanes, If I see something, I call you out. Very, very interesting story, situation. Because things got so bad. I spoke to him about, certain things, and I didn't know. I was like, I didn't like, what you're doing, and this is not right. I was a young teenager. I think I was a sophomore in high school, right? So I was a sophomore in high school, big argument with my father. So I didn't talk to him for 2 years, live in the same house.
Wow.
2 whole years, we didn't speak. From sophomore year to senior year, right? And you know what it took for us to talk again? Me almost dying.
Really?
And my senior year of high school, this was probably springtime, I believe, because it was warm outside. My appendix burst, and I didn't know. And so I'm in school. I told the teacher I need to leave, and she was like, "You can't leave." And I just walked out. Excuse me. My school was downtown Manhattan. I had a white T-shirt. So I'm walking. The pain was just one of the worst pains you could ever feel. And then, so I passed out.
So you passed out. Okay.
Didn't know. I woke up. I'm like, oh, why am I on the floor? Went home. And one of the funniest things, because my mom was there, and with Haitians, any problem you have is gas. And then, so everything I took down, my body rejected. I vomited right back out. Everything. I drank water. It immediately came out because pretty much I had bacteremia and I was going to septic shock. Yeah. Wow. So I passed out again in the room. Woke up. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, what the heck just happened? And didn't know. And I just wake up in pain. So I had my brother take me to the hospital. I went to St. Luke's Hospital. They looked at my blood, so there was nothing in my blood. They were about to discharge me. And if I would have got discharged, I would have been dead. So I remember my brothers, you can say she's my grandmother, because I never met I met my real grandmother later on, but I see her. She was there. My brothers, they were arguing with the doctor. So they did a CAT scan, and then they saw my appendix burst, and, I'm going to septic shock. So I had to go do emergency surgery. I was out for like a month and a half. I got put on life support, tube down my throat, all that stuff, the whole nine. And then after 2 years of not speaking to my father, I remember waking up. I think I was in the recovery room, and he asked me how I was doing. That was like the first time we spoke in like 2 years.
Wow.
2 whole years. 2 whole years. First thing, it's like, how you doing? Because, I'm his son. No matter, how, according to him, disrespectful I can get, I still came from him. So you could see he was worried, stuff like that. And then, so I let it go. I let everything go, and we spoke, and then I came home, we started speaking again. But that wasn't the last time we clashed. But I would say, I think the further clash, the more we clashed later on, it was just, I was a little bit more respectful, because I understood that I could have died, and I could have died in very bad terms with my father.
Right.
Super bad terms with my father. And fast forward to, this connects to another story, because that moment I almost died, and it was bad terms. To the last time I spoke to my father. I remember I was in college for respiratory school, and my father, as he got older, he understood, like, his wrongdoings, which, we'll get into that later on, but he understood his wrongdoings, and he got a little jealous of, we were closer to my mom. And then, so, he brought that up with me, and it was an argument. It was a good argument. And then, like I said, my personality, I didn't hold no punches. But after the argument, I remember I was supposed to go leave, because I was living in the city. I'll go visit in the weekends, and they was living in Jersey at the time. I remember I was about to leave. I had put my book bag on, and we just had an argument, and it was something in my heart. I kid you not, it was something that was like holding me, like, yo, you can't leave right now. You cannot leave. And so I went back to my father, and I said to my father, Dad, I said, no, excuse me, not Dad. I said, Max, I know, things are bad, and I know we just argue, but I said, the reality is, you're my father, and I love you. BJ, that was the first time I ever said I love you to my father. First time. And that was the last time, because that's the last time I saw him.
Wow.
Because after that, he had a stroke. A couple of days later, he had a stroke. Because he was non-compliant with certain things he was supposed to do, and he didn't want to do it. So he had a stroke. He ended up with a ventilator, the very thing I was learning about in school, for like a week. And then he died.
Wow. And this is more of a side question. You said you were heading out after having this dispute with him, and you decided to turn around and come back and talk to him. Not only talk to him, but you told him that you love him. First time, only time. So what do you know? Yeah, do you remember what made you stop to just like?
I don't know why I said that,
because that could have been the last time you ever.
I don't know why, because that's something I didn't have in me to say to him. So I don't know to this day. I don't know why, but I tell you one thing: and if I left like that, I probably would have been in a mess. My whole psyche would have been just messed up because there was just no closure.
Right.
I think that was God saying, "You need to fix this right now, boy," because you're
not gonna have another chance.
First and last. I was like, because my brothers the other day, I said, "They ever told my father I love him?" They was like, "Nah, I don't remember you ever saying something like that." And I told them, I was like, "This is the only time I said it."
Wow, that's deep. That is deep. I can't even imagine putting myself in that situation. You tell your dad that you love him, and that was the last time that you actually get to say that. And not a lot of us don't get to have that chance. And the fact that you were able to just like put your feelings to the side, I don't even think it was you that was doing that. I think it was just like, that was God just literally just physically moved you and stopped you and told you, look, this is the only chance that you got. Honestly, the only chance that you got. Because if you didn't, who knows, like your condition right now, your mentally would have been like all over the place.
Yeah. And it was, I tell you, man, it was one of those arguments. It was one of those arguments where we spoke about, I spoke about what he did, why, things are like this. You're still our father, we love you, and we try to take care of you. You're sick, but I can't force myself to like somebody. I could never, ever do that if I don't like you. And it's not saying I don't like my father. It's just saying my feelings. I love you as my father because you're my father. But what I show my mom is because of the work she put in. The work you put in is nowhere near the same. So how can I love you the same? That's impossible. Or I would be a fraud, a fake, two-faced, a liar. I don't want to be none of that. So that was his big issue. One of his big issues, you guys do this for your mom and this and that. But, it's you sow what you reap. You made your bed, and this is the time where you're lying in it. You're lying in that bed. Your body of work. And I told him everything. Every time we had this argument, I would tell him, like, this is what happened. This is what you're doing. This is why I'm like this. And this is for the most part the reasons why, I was probably the least loved out of the bunch.
Wow. That's deep. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. Sometimes you think you know someone, but you don't know their story. You don't know their journey. You don't know the struggle that they go through or they're going through. So that's why you have to be careful how you treat other people, how you go about saying certain things to other people, because you don't know if they're on their last breath, if they are on their last brink where they can break, and what you say can break them. So you have to be careful of what you said to everybody or anybody that you come across, because you don't know where their mind is at right now. You don't know under what pressure that they're going through, and it's hard. I mean, I know sometimes we're so caught up on our own journey, and we have our own problem going through. We're going through our own problems that we don't think about other people. We just think about ourselves, and it's hard and it's deep because there are so many of us out there that's hurt. We just don't know it, and it's hard for us to know. We just have to be careful about how we just spit out whatever's on our mind, because it can affect a person deeply. I mean, even you telling me right now, let's say I met you and I was like, and I said something wrong to you, that could have just broke you down, or that could have just changed the relationship between you and I, because I don't know what you were going through. you know, and that's why I'm so encouraged about, you know, hearing the stories, because you as my cousin, I mean, we spend summers together. I chill at your house, and I get to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll understand, like, we are so close. Like, we have stories where we stay up at night and we jokes around. Like, it's just crazy, like, how close we are. But I still don't know exactly your journey. I still don't know exactly the stuff that you go through. So it's hard for me to just say, oh, yeah, I know who he is. I know the surface of who you are, but I don't know the journey of life that you took.
It's like,
so it's very hard.
It's funny because my cousin, G. Emmanuel, he was on the show, and he touched up on, you know, the family that lived up the block. That was us he was talking about. And the funny thing is, because I look at your lives and I look at our lives, and it was like two sides of a coin. But it was still a bad coin. Your father, you know, he did what he did. And my father, he was there. It was just a body there. He was there. But as a father, mostly, not really. You know, it was rough because you just see, because after you grow up and then because you become more mature and you see like, okay, what are you doing actually? You know, like, you're just here, you know, as a body, right? I'll give you another, and this is before I move on. You know, I'm here. I'm always about truth. You know, some people might say, "Oh, you're bashing your father," and then I could say, what I would say to them is, "No, I'm just telling you what happened. It's not an insult to tell you what happened. If someone came and slapped you in the face, and I say, yo, he just slapped you, it's not an insult. I just told you what just happened." So, every year for my birthday as a kid, right? My birthday would come, and only a few people know this. You know, this is why I'm like this. But it'll be my birthday, and then I would sit there, and then because I'm so happy because it's my birthday, right? And my mom, she always, of course, acknowledge it and try to do her best. You know, she wasn't working for much, but she did. You know, she was a fighter. She did what she had to do. And then so I would sit there, and I look at my father, and he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't do anything on my birthday.
On your birthday.
And then, so I'm excited. I'm waiting for, you know, just even if you just say happy birthday, that would be great. That would be super awesome. So nothing. And then so what I started doing every year, I don't know for how long, I would go to him and he would be like, yes, it's my birthday. And he was like, oh yeah? And I was like, yeah, I get $10 to buy a watch. It was a cheap watch. And then he'll give me the $10. I would go buy the watch. Watch will last probably a week because it's a cheap watch. And then I'll wait till next year. And then the next year comes. Max, yes, today's my birthday. Oh yeah? Can I get $10 to get to buy a watch? I think I did it for like 7-8 years. I don't know how long. And when that last watch finally broke, that year I didn't say anything. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. Nothing. He didn't say a word, nothing.
Right.
The next year after that, I didn't want to do anything for my birthday. I didn't want nothing. So what became of me was, I don't celebrate my birthday. I don't do parties for my birthday. And it's something to this day, you just can't shake it. I just feel like, it's just my birthday. You know, I'm just happy for everybody else's birthday. Same thing with Christmas. I hate Christmas. To this day. Hate Christmas. Being a father is one of the best things. Best things that ever happened to me. And that helped me a lot too. It helped me a lot with my struggles, my father's not here, but it helped me a lot, to see things clearly. today's actually a very, very important day today. Um, it is my firstborn, Gabriel Martin Darius, my son. Today's his birthday. He turns 4. My son was born April 22nd at 9:52 p.m. And it was one of the most important days of my life. You can tell it's funny because you hear the thing about like being a born again Christian, right? Where you die and you become this new person, right? And I think the same thing, not the same thing, but similar, happens when you have your first kid, because that person who I used to be is done with. I just don't care about myself anymore. Not to the point where like I want to throw my life away. It's just to the point where everything I do is to better my son, to better my. I also have I have 2 kids, Gabriel and Soraya. Soraya is my daughter, little daddy's girl, and I'm having a 3rd kid very soon. My wife is pregnant; she's 5 months pregnant, and we found out it's going to be a baby boy, and we're going to name him Lathan. Lathan with an L. And when I tell you, like, it's like I don't exist anymore. It feels like I don't exist. Everything I'm doing is for them. Everything. I don't shop for clothes as much as for me anymore. Sneakers. I used to be a sneakerhead. I used to have like 20, 30 pairs of sneakers, or like red Jordan and stuff like that. And then after my son was born, I gave like half of them away. I didn't care about it anymore. And then one thing I love doing is I love dressing up my son. He looks like a fly kid. I let my wife dress my daughter mostly because I didn't grow up with any of my sisters, so I don't know how to dress daughters. So I just buy sneakers and shoes, and then I let my wife put it together, because last time I put an outfit together, it was horrific.
Okay.
It was bad. It was really bad.
So,
and I dress my kids. I love my kids. One thing I love is for my kids to look really, really nice, because I have 2 cousins that are like fashionistas, and I watch them. They don't know I watch them, but I watch them, and I'm like, man, I want my kids to be like that. I want them to grow up to be nice and sharp like that. So the one person is Peggy Darius. He dressed, yes, your older brother. He dressed very sharp. The dude knows how to put it together, and I want my son to be like that. Definitely like that. Like, know a good sense of fashion. And my daughter, we have the natural hair, the afro. I love putting her hair in the afro puff. I love when she dresses and she looks very, very nice, very, very sharp, because her aunt puts it well together, very well. And her aunt is Gael Darius, and she is also a fashionista. And they ask their brothers and sisters, and I'll be watching them, and I'm like, I'm gonna steal their style. I'm gonna rip them off and put it in my kids. That's
what you gotta do. You may have to do that,
because it's nice. It's very nice when you look very nice. Because Gael's like, when she did the afro, I looked at her. I said, I'm also a photographer. I said, yo, we got to do this photo shoot ASAP. And then we did a photo shoot, one of my best photo shoots. It looks awesome. And then now she's doing the bald head, and it looks so awesome. And I still didn't get a chance to do a photo shoot with her when it comes to that. And she looks awesome. She dressed very well. He puts it well together. And that's one attribute that I really want for my kids.
As far as the presence of your dad, the lack of it, because I know with my father, again, he was there, but he was not really there. And you going through a similar thing as well. Your father was there, but he wasn't really involved. How was his presence or his lack of presence had an effect on you?
It's a good question. And the funny thing about me is I'm a counteractive person. I just like to counter things. I really don't try to let things get me down. I try to react towards it. And the pretty much, the lack of things my father have done, it taught me. It taught me not to do that with my kids. So, some people have the notion that they don't know how to be, a good father because their father was a terrible father. But I just say, okay, what didn't you like? Okay, you didn't like that, so then don't do that. Don't do it with your kids. And the good stuff that he did, my father was very funny. He took us out. He had definitely had positives. And then I'll take that. Like, you know what? I'm going to take the good from you, and then I'm going to learn from your bad, and I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that and make it into a positive. That's pretty much been my whole life. Just take the negative and try to turn it into a positive. Somebody's giving you lemon, you make lemonade. Make it real sweet.
If there is, what are some great memories that you have with your dad?
One time, he had a flat tire, and he parked his car downstairs in the garage. And I was home, and he asked me, you want to come with me? And I said, yeah. And he taught me how to change a tire. And I was like, yo, this is, a real father-son moment like I've seen in the movies and stuff like that. And, yo, that was, I know some people might hear him like, what is he talking about? But that was awesome for me. Yo, that was great. I was so happy that day. Just learning how to change. I was like, my father, taught me how to change the tire. When I was younger, I had some, great memories because he would always drive to Queens, or he likes to drive places. He likes to take trips. So, we would tag along. That's one of the great positives that we had. We went on trips and stuff like that. It's not, big trips, but we'll go to Six Flags. We'll drive to Florida, stuff like that. He was big on that. And those are great memories. I remember the funny thing as a kid, right? When I was living in Queens, I looked at my father and I felt like he was. Don't laugh, all right? I thought my father was Chuck Norris. Not Chuck Norris the person, but I thought Chuck Norris was him. And he would show his I was like, he would say, look at my muscles or something like that. He'll flex, and then I'm like, wow, look at them. As a kid, I remember that as a kid. That was, it was at those are the points where somebody, is a hero to you, because you're innocent and you don't know much, so you will personify him as a superhero, and right. I would see that, and I was like, damn, darn, my father's strong. Look at his muscles and stuff like that. And then I used to go to school, and then I would tell him my father's Chuck Norris. In Queens, I forgot the name of the school, but it was in Queens, and I would say that. But one funny thing is, what's kind of sad is, there'll be parent-teachers meetings and stuff like that, or situations where fathers would come in and do stuff, and it would just, my mom didn't at the time, her English wasn't well, so I would see other people's fathers, but not mine. I would be a situation need to be handled, it'd be my mom. They need somebody to come to school, it would be my mom. And then, but you see everybody else, other people, and you see their father and mothers. Not everybody, but there's people that have similar situations as me. But those are some of them. Some of the memories that where you have fond memories, and then it changes you. And it sucks to be, that young, and then you start noticing stuff like that. It's really tough because you're forced to grow up, and you shouldn't, it shouldn't happen for kids, but you got to grow up.
Yeah. And just like you said, we had to learn how to grow up fast. You had to learn how to adapt fast. You had to learn how to be an adult faster than you had to. So now you're robbed of that. And, childhood it was quick. We didn't have the time to enjoy it because you had to learn how to be an adult real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of us went through that, especially you as well, as you're telling me that you had to go through that. You had to learn how to cope, and you had to learn how to be an adult at an early age, which is not fair. It's really not fair at all. Because now you're looking back on it, it's like, man, did I gain anything, or was I supposed to be, an adult at
Exactly.
12, 13 years old? Am I supposed to be taking care of my siblings at that time? Like, it bothers you because now you're just saying, wait, then what would my childhood look like if I didn't have to worry about those things?
And it was, of course, because this is my story, and because I don't want to act like my brother, because my older brother, it was pretty much both of us. We had to figure that out quick, and my brother had to do a lot of decisions. He had to leave school because he had to go home and work because food wasn't being put on the table. He had to figure out where he was going to live because we had to move so many times because a couple of times we got evicted. A lot of people don't know this. We moved a lot, and then he was the one that figured out where we had to go. Not my father. It was my brother, my older brother. It was, wow. And it's like, hey, you got to grow up. If your father doesn't do what he has to do, you got to grow up. So me and my older brother, we was forced to grow up quick.
Right. That is so tough, man. Again, you think you know someone, but you don't really know their life story. You don't know their journey in life and how they came to be who they are right now. So you got to be careful what you say or the way you act around these individuals. It's tough. Okay, let's take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back after this sponsor. Hey guys, Maxime Darius, aka BJ here from Dear Dad Podcast. Now, when I started this podcast, I wanted a platform where I can record and upload my content very easily. I didn't want to go through any hoops to get my podcast out there. When I did start my podcast, I was on a different platform. But after I was introduced to Anchor not once, not twice, but over 3 times by my close friends, I decided to give Anchor a try. I must say, I absolutely love it. Not only is it easy to use, but I am able to record, edit, post, and publish all my episodes right there on the app or the site. I was able to transfer all my episodes onto Anchor in less than 5 minutes. That, for me, was unbelievable. Oh yeah, here's the best thing of all. It's free. It is free to use. Yeah, I know. That's crazy, but take my word on this. It's true. Using Anchor has definitely made podcasts so easy. Trust me, you'll love it. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What are some characteristics in you that you find in your dad?
Yeah. All right. This is well, first thing I'm going to point out is his temper. My father had a temper. He had a very quick temper. But I don't want people to think that he was, abusing the crap out of us. He was not doing that. For the most part, it was my mom that gave us the beat. Well, it's kind of it's good and bad because my mom gave us the beans because we needed it and she cared, and my father was a little just too busy doing other things. So that's why, it sucks to say it like that. But
right.
Like I said, I told you I don't hold punches. This is what it is. So that temper, yes, but I must say I have worked on it. But it's there. It's there, and my advice is, don't push those buttons. So I have that, but also the love that he has, because my father had love for his friends. I'm talking about love for his friends. He was all about his friends.
Right.
He what do you call it? He had love his kids, but he was really about his friends. And that love kind of transferred over to me, but not mostly to friends. That love transferred to the family.
Right.
You know, me and my family is really, really close, and I have my circle. My circle is tight, and I love my circle. You know, like I said, I love my family to death, but I do have a circle, which consists of course, you know, my brothers are in it. But as far as my outside my immediates, you could say, of course, Peggy Darius, who's just another brother. It's just simple. He's just a brother, period. Thompson Million, who's just another brother. Well, the people I'm telling you, those are just brothers. They're not cousins. They're brothers. Gabe Million, that's just my brother. Yeah. You know, Will Darius, like me and Will, that's my brother. Webster, he's from France, but that's my brother. I remember he came to visit. The first time we saw him was like I was probably like 18, 19. And then he came over from France because he wanted to come to New York. And he kept coming over, and like him and my brothers, we just came tight. He's like there's like very little Darius over there in France, and he's like the very few left over there. But that is my brother. I made Gabe and Webster the godfather of my son, which is huge for me because I do not take that lightly at all. Very important figures in my life. So you got Peggy, you got Thompson, you got Gabe, you got Will, you got Webster, and my cousin G is getting there. He's getting up there. He's getting up there. He's getting up there. Those are my circle right there. Those are people that are very, very close to my heart. Do not hurt their feelings or anything like that, because I'll come for you. I will come for vengeance.
There goes the temper. There goes the temper.
But before my wife, I just had, I had friends. I had friends. Didn't take much people serious. Some girls here and there I was talking to. That was whatever. But my wife is actually my first girlfriend. She was my first girlfriend. It made me very, very picky, on who I wanted to date. There was some others. I'm not gonna say there was no others that I was interested in. Of course there was, there were some others, but some of that first person I really, really took seriously, and because the craziest thing is, I don't know why God brings people that are like similar to your mom to you. Because I didn't know this girl from home. Well, first time I saw her, she smiled at me. She was supposed to be my godson's godmother, and it was actually a couple people that hooked it up. It was my godson's godmother who, like, I want you to meet this girl. My mom and her are like daughter, like mom and daughter. Because sometimes when you have your wife and your mom, because my mom lives with me, in the same place, they could clash.
Right.
But these two is pretty much almost the same thing. They're like mother and daughter relationship. Sometimes it feels like I'm the stepkid.
Wow.
I mean, the son-in-law. Excuse me, not stepkid. It feels like I'm the son-in-law. I told my mom that. I was like, sometimes you make me feel like I'm the son-in-law. But that has been a godsend, a blessing, and I'm very happy about that. And I would say to people, be careful who you choose, who you want your significant other to be. Because sometimes you follow the same thing. Like, some people will have some bad relationship with their parents, and you follow suit, and now you're doing the same thing because of who you chose.
Tell me about fatherhood.
Fatherhood, man, I tell you, it felt like I was bred to be a father. And when I say bred, you would think I'm talking about my father, but I'm actually not. I'm talking about my family. I've sat there, like I said, I've watched. I always watch. I sit there and I watch, and I take notes and I copy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I seen my cousin P become a father, Gabe become a father, awesome father. See my brothers become parents. I was out of all my brothers, I was the last one to have kids, and I just watched, and then I see the stuff they do, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna be like this. Okay, I see what they're gonna do. I see what they feed. Like my uncle Roosevelt, I pretty much stole his whole type of pretty much the stuff that he feeds his kids. I'm very big on organic food and certain types of foods for my kids, and so I saw what he's done. So I took that. That's good for him. But I was ready. I was ready and anxious, and I felt like I soak up everything I need to soak up, all the information. Look at my mom of what type of person she was, and some people, they say they wasn't ready to be a father, which there's of course there's no knock that. That's life, the situation. It's definitely, but those people I know that's like that, they step up to the game and became a great parent. For me, I was ready. I was sitting there, just ready for it to happen. And April 22nd was my chance, my biggest chance. And when my son came into this world, man, I died. And I became a whole new person.
Right.
A whole new person.
Right.
I was all about this kid. Like, what ways can he be blessed? Spiritually, financially, mentally, everything. What ways can I teach him? There's going to be tough love. There's going to be love. There's going to be fun. There's going to be work. There's going to be education. I was sitting there and I was just ready. I had my friends too, friends from high school, Fitzgerald, Jason Hayes. These two great parents already. Dope parents. And then you learn some things from them too. So I was ready. I was pretty much someone that studied for the test to the T and and just trying to ace this thing. Pretty much. Just trying to ace this thing. When my son came out, man, I remember I was there with my wife, and first and foremost, man, these women, they're strong, man. To go through that.
Amen.
Oh my goodness. To go through that. If I was a woman, I was like, you only having one. To go through that is insane. It's insane. But when my son came out, I tell everybody, I'm not ashamed. I cried.
Right.
And then it was something that I just could not control. It flowed out, and that was it. It was like, yo, you crying, and that's it.
Right.
And my son Gabriel came, and then I became this person that I was never before. Like, and then I was just never this person. Never. And it's just, a blessing. It's a huge blessing. But I want to say something else. Before that, I was still actually a father because I had my nieces and nephews.
Okay.
And it's very similar. It's still a little different. It's not the same, but it's very similar. Because I was there, they were babies. I was there with them. They grew up. And, my niece and nephews, they didn't have one father. They had four.
Mm-hmm.
And, I pray for the same thing for my kids, And so you don't really have to give birth to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know this because my wife's, my son's grandmother, not my mom, but my wife's aunt. You hear what I'm saying? Not her mother. My wife's aunt is my kid's grandmother. And they call her grandma.
Wow.
My wife was sent, she was sent here as a kid, and her aunt raised her. So, and she was here through the pregnancies, and she is a godsend. You know, she is who they call grandma. And now my wife's mom, she came from Haiti. They call her Nana. I'm like, you call her Nana, but grandma is her aunt, and there's no discussion. That's it. I remember I had a situation where somebody kept saying, "Go to your aunt." Go. That's like, no, that's not their aunt. That's their grandmother.
Wow.
I had to correct them, and you need to stay with that. That's my kids. That's their grandmother. Don't do it again. Respect that. Fatherhood is something else, man. It's like I said, I was ready for it. I was waiting for it and anticipated, and it was just something I was ready for. And you see people, they live this crazy life, party and stuff like that, and then they have kids, but they seem like they regret. They want to go back to that party life and stuff like that. Me, hell no. There's no way. Like, how can you see this? It is hard, but it's not a burden. It's life. It's beautiful. It's what it's supposed to be. I'm happy that I don't get much sleep and I get to take care of my kids. It's hard though, but I'll do it any day. I'll do it, period. This is for my kids. I am, well, I forgot my age. What am I, 35? Damn, I'm old. I'm 35. But my time, it feels like my time is up, but I'm not saying I quit life or something like that. I'm just saying it's not about me anymore. I have a kid. I have a daughter. I'm going to have another son. It's about them. They need to be something, like successful in life. And when I say success, it doesn't mean to have a career or something like that. I would like for them to have a career. What I mean by success is, first and foremost, they're children in Christ. Second, they're good, genuine people. They're not scumbags. They're not killing people, robbing. That's my goal. And that is my duty. That's what I'm supposed to do because I'm a father. I'm supposed to teach my son how to be a man. Supposed to teach my girl some things about womanhood, but I can't teach him everything. That's my wife. That's where she comes in.
Right.
And then I have my other son. I'm going to teach him how to be a man because I tell you, man, a lot of things lacking in these new generations.
Like you said before, you were prepped. You were pretty much were studying to take this exam, and you were ready to take it. I felt the same way when my wife and I decided to have kids, to have a child, should I say? We only have one kid. It was a sit down conversation. We sat down and was like, okay, I think it's time for us to do this. It's time for us to go about doing this. And I wanted to be a father. And like you said before,
yes.
You had examples. You had your brothers, you had cousins, that was there, and you had nieces and nephews for you to practice. And it was already there. And again, mine's pretty much the same thing as well. I mentally was there I was ready to have a child. I wanted to have a child because I wanted to be able to express a lot of the love that I have in me that wasn't given to me to a child of mine. I didn't want my child that I have to go through a neglect, to go through a hardship. Yes. I just know mentally I was ready to have a child. I mean, there are all the stuff that comes along with it that you're not prepped for. But when you are mentally ready to have a child, you can say, or you want to have a child, when the kid is here, it's not a burden. When the kid is here, it's not a nuisance where I have to like you said, I got to go to my club, I got to go to a party. No, once the kid is born, like I said, my son was born. When he came, like it was just profound. Like you said, I was literally born again because emotionally, everything was there. Like I didn't know I was that emotional person because this guy just brought it out in me. Like he's so affectionate and so loving, and it's just an amazing thing to feel for a child. And I sometimes sit there and I just like I'm like there is no way I'm able to love a person that deeply.
Exactly, bro. that deeply, man. It's
It
crazy,
doesn't
right?
change. And the thing is, no matter what he does or he doesn't do, it doesn't change. No matter how much he can be annoying to me, maybe at times, it doesn't change. Maybe he does something that pissed me off. It doesn't change. Maybe he pooped on his diaper while we're doing potty training. It doesn't change. When he doesn't want to fall asleep, it doesn't change. Nothing changes. It just grows to become better. It gets better each and every day. It's just like a fruit. It just gets sweeter and sweeter every day. So it doesn't get bitter. But on the same note, if you are not mentally ready to have a child, everything that a kid does becomes a burden, because you can't go out, you can't do this, you can't party, you can't drink, you can't, like, all that stuff becomes I can't, instead of like, oh no, I need to cater to this person, you know? So it becomes a different dynamic. So it becomes a resentment. That's something I never wanted to do. I never wanted to resent my kid. I never want to resent my wife for holding me back from no. I wanted to get married. We wanted to get married, and we wanted to have a child. Everything that we did was a decision. I decided, we decided, and then we moved forward. If it was just one way, it was not going to work.
Exactly.
It's not going to work. So that's why I said you have to like be intentional with being a father. You know, a lot of people can be father, but not everybody can be a dad, and that makes a big difference.
Bingo. Makes a huge difference.
Big difference.
Huge difference.
Makes a big difference. Okay, let's take another brief commercial break. We'll be right back. So I know we're talking about fatherhood, and you're talking about, you know, the love that you have for your child, and how the love grows for them. Before you became a father, did you have an idea what kind of father you wanted to be?
Yes, I did. Before I became a father, I had like exactly like the right idea, exactly what I wanted to be. I was like, okay, like I said, I seen. Well, first and foremost, my father, he gave me some stuff that, you know, I wanted to do, but he showed me some stuff. I said, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like, I don't want to put my friends over my kids. My kid comes first. Don't play with my kids. You know, don't. It's just because we went through certain things, bro. We went through certain things where it felt like my mom was fighting for us, because my mom was that type. She was that type where you don't mess with her kids. My father was not that type. And then I said, I don't want to be like that.
Right.
My son needs to know, Daddy is here. Somebody mess with you, Daddy gonna do all he can. Let that person know, never again. Not this kid. But also, you know, as kids grow up, you gotta let them learn how to handle themselves, the situation. Right. But when I saw one of my brothers, my brother P, when he had his kid, Aiden, his firstborn, and P was doing what he had to do, and I was like, yo, I need to be like that.
Right. Yep.
So I need to be like that.
Absolutely.
I looked at it, I said, awesome. And then I saw Gabe had his son. He's lucky to have a father like that. God bless me, because I saw it, and then it gave me perfect examples what I should do. Put a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there, and he made the perfect recipe. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not a perfect father. No way. I'm just saying he made me want to be that type of person.
Right.
And that's what it is. That's what it takes. That's what it should be. Because there's people that just don't want to be fathers, but they have kids.
Right. Yep.
They showed me, and I thank God for them. You know, my brothers, they showed me good example. And I have to say, I have to be thankful. It sounds crazy, but I have to be thankful for also the negatives that I was shown, because it showed me, don't do that.
Right.
You know,
right.
You touch fire, you get burned. Now you know, okay, it's hot.
Right.
Don't touch it.
Right. You have to learn how to grow. I mean, I had influences, and definitely my older brother P was just definitely an influence on me, from the do's and the don'ts. Definitely my brother Emmanuel as well. Just like how to love, you know, how to be a dad and of two girls.
I want to say also, very proud of G, man, because G came a long way, and this dude is an exceptional father. Exceptional father. I'm extremely proud of this dude, because he also gave me an example, and I'm stupid for not mentioning him, but exceptional father.
Those two guys I've learned, and I said it before in the previous podcast, that I learned how to be a father through those guys. Like both my younger brother and my older brother. I learned to be a father. I learned to be a better father through them because I didn't get an example of being a father. I had role models, I can say. Well, I got bits and pieces from different individuals. But when I saw it, because I had like you, I had my child later on. So therefore, I had other people to look at. I saw my older brother, I saw my younger brother, I saw what the relationship were. I saw how much love they invest in their child, how much love they invest in their children. And for me, I saw that. I was just like, there's no way I'm going to not mimic that because they do it, and they do it with love. It was not they don't do it because of regret. They do it because it's pure love.
Pure love.
The relationship between them is inseparable. The relationship between Gammanuel and his first daughter Abby. Oh my God, it's just the best father and daughter relationship that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship between my older brother and his two sons is amazing. All of them is just so great. So now I'm looking at that. I'm like, there's no way I cannot incorporate that. So when I see that, even you, that's another thing. You as well. Even when you had your child, he was like, look, it's time for you. You told me now it's time for you to have a kid because we need to play catch up.
Yeah.
And I see how you relationship with your son and the investment that you invest in your son and the amount of time that you invest in your son. It plays such a big role. And I'm taking that and I'm literally just taking notes. So when it's time for me to be a father, I have like pages and pages, almost a book of good fathers of examples. And definitely my family, primary, I see how great they are, and I start to implement that in my son. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now is from my older brother, it's from my younger brother, it's from you, it's from other people that I've seen that's doing good things, and I incorporate that in my life and say, okay, I want to invest that in my DNA to my son, because I need him to know how much love that his dad loves him. The sacrifice that I have, I want him to feel it. I want him to know how it is for his dad to love his mom. Like, I want him to be annoyed to how much his dad loved his mom. Like, that's my goal. So therefore, again, when he is looking for a potential mate, he's seeing like he's gonna look for a person that's gonna treat him the way mom treat dad, the dad treats mom, because now he has an example, he has a foundation of who he needs to be and has to be, because now he's not looking for someone that's going to be hot-headed and in a mess, because then it's not going to be a good fit to the family. It's not going to be a good fit for him because his foundation is based on good behavior and good love, strong relationship between mom and dad and grandpa and grandma and family in itself. So to bring someone outside that doesn't fit that role, it's going to be hard to fit that in.
Exactly. And that's funny you say that, because that's what I look at when I look at my daughter. I look at, I need to be that role model for her, that example of the type of man that she would look for, because I look at my daughter and I'm like, do I want somebody just like me, to be with my daughter? And then the answer to that is no. You know why? Because you always want, I want something better than me, because I'm not perfect.
Right.
So I'm trying to be as best as I can so she can find something just like that, but hopefully better. And hopefully that, the better suits her.
With that, I caught onto this this saying that Emmanuel said he got from you, and I incorporated in just about in every episode that I'm doing. And I stole it from you. I'm just gonna flat out say it. So I stole it from you. No copyright or nothing. I'm just telling you right now. I straight up stealing it from you. And when I was talking to him, he said that he spoke to you. And he said that he want to be just like you. I think because you got your education, you married, all that stuff. He wanted to be like you, but you told him, "Don't be like me. Be a better version of me. Be better than me," is what you said. Be better than me. Yeah. You went through this trial, you went through this ordeal, but you don't want another person to go through that. You want somebody to capitalize on what you're doing. So me rewording it is just pretty much saying, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be a better version of me. I don't want you to be like your dad. I want you to be a better version
Yes.
of your dad. Can you elaborate
Yes.
on that? Because I know I said it a lot, and I want to give you credit.
Well, the funny thing is, since you came clean, I gotta come clean too.
Okay.
I stole that from my cousin Gabe. I remember this was before I had a kid, and I was having a chat with him, and I think his son mentioned something like that. And then he told his son, "No, you're not gonna be like me. You're gonna go past me. You're gonna be better than me." And when he said
Right.
that, I was like, "Wow!"
Yes.
Because the whole time I was like, I would like my son to be just like me.
Right.
And then when he said that, I said, "Yo, it makes sense. You know, you want your kids to do better than you, because if you have a kid and he does the same thing as you, and his kid do the same thing as you, there's no growth, there's no progress."
Absolutely.
And when he said that, yo, that stuck with me. And then I took it, ran with it, said it to G like it was mine. And now Gabe is probably gonna sue me.
That's why I had to change the word around a little bit, and make it my own. But that in itself is so powerful, man. It's so powerful. I mean, if you look at our parents and what they went through, they fought hard for us not to be in the same shoes that they went through. So we won't go through the same situation that they went through. They sacrificed so much for us not to go through that. And that's the same thing that we're doing right now. The same thing I'm doing, and that's the thing you're doing, where you're fighting and working and sacrificing yourself, because now it's about bettering the next generation. It's about bettering the next one online, and that's your child. And your goal in life is to better your child better than you had it. You can't have your child repeat the same thing that you have. There are certain things that just, again, genetic traits that you want to be careful about carrying on. But whatever you can do physically, mentally, inject that into your kids to be a positive. That's what our goal is as parents, to invest in our kids to do better and be better. Not the same thing as we are. Because again, I don't want my son to be working 1 or 2 jobs, or I don't want him to worry about the income if he's gonna eat. No, I don't want to have to worry about that. I had to go through that, but I learned from that and grew from that, so he doesn't have to go through that.
Yes. And it's funny because you're saying better than the next generation, and I want to touch up on something because you guys had fronts, right?
Right.
And he spoke about fronts, how he helped you guys, and I want to talk about his brother. Well, there's 2 brothers. One early in my life, Uncle Keket, he was that God sent for us. And then as we got older, his son's other brother, Uncle Tom.
Right.
This dude is a God sent. This dude, I call him Pops. When I see him, I kiss him in his forehead, I give him a hug, I call him Pops. One of the best feelings I ever had. I felt so happy that he saw my son. I feel sad because my father, he never got to see any of my kids.
Right.
But God put that in place for Uncle Thumb to see my kids. If this dude was not here, and first and foremost, my mom, but if he wasn't here, I wouldn't finish college. I would not be what I am today. I would not have the career. I'm telling you, man, this dude is my second father. I love him to death. Love him to death. I remember I had no money to go to school, yo. And then I'm sitting here stressed to go to college, to learn. I couldn't. And then the doorbell rings. Because me and my mom talked about it yesterday. I was like, I ain't got no money. I can't go to school. Doorbell rings the next day. Who is it? Uncle Tom. He gave me a monthly Metro, money in my pocket. Who does that? Why would somebody do something like that for me? I'm like, that's just some of the things he did. Some. My family moved to Jersey, to school in the city, downtown Manhattan. I was working, took me in his house. No rent, nothing. Just make sure you go to school.
All right. And those things kind of sound foreign when people do it willingly, without asking them, without begging. When they do it with out of love, it just seems foreign because that's not something you're used to. You know what I'm saying? It's not you're not used to that that kindness. I know it's there. I know it's alive, but you're just not used to it because that's not how you grew up. So when somebody does that, you be like, thank you, I guess, kind of question mark.
It was just like breathing for him to be nice, to help take care of. Like, I should just rip up my diploma and just give half, because like, and give the other half to my mom. Like those two, I don't know where I would be. I don't know where I would be without those two. It sucks to say, but he was doing that while my father was alive.
Yeah.
So if you listen to me, I love you so much. And thank you for everything you've done for me.
Wow. What are 3 happy moments in your life?
One of the first ones I would say is graduation. Healthcare field in the school. If you fail a class, you don't get to take class next semester. You had to wait a whole year. So my father died during the semester and I failed the class. And then I had to come back the next year and watch all my friends that was there last year graduate. One of the worst feelings. And you guys, just to get to look at my mom and look at her, and she's looking at me and she's crying. Man, we came from some poverty situation, living, in the hood. You know how it is in Harlem. Harlem in the 80s and 90s. In the 90s is pretty rough. Go through it, and just to see her look at me and she's crying.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my best moments. Second best moment, April 22nd. Son was born. That was everything. My first son, my firstborn, my boy. The kid is just like me. It's crazy. It's like I'm myself. And my third best, I don't want to get my wife mad. I'm not gonna, I love the part where I got married to her. But my third best moment, May 21st, with my little Raya, his little girl. That was an awesome day. Those 3 is an awesome day. And I have a feeling God's gonna bless me, and He's gonna give me a 4th awesome day very soon.
Right.
But right now, the day I graduated, the day my son was born, and the day my daughter was born. It just filled me up, man, because I was living incomplete. I was living just angry. I was always angry. My face was always serious. I met my wife. That helped a lot because I was different back then. I was different. Just, I don't know. I'm not gonna say depressed, but I was different.
Wow. Are there things you wish you had done differently as a dad?
Sometimes, you're short with your kids, and, you got to grow with that. Sometimes these kids could be rough, and you're like, enough, but not really. I think I'm doing okay. I want to continue the path I'm going on. I want to be more understanding with the kids. I want to be a better father because I am not the best father, and I'm not perfect at all. Nowhere near perfect. But do things differently? No, I don't think so. I want to keep going, keep praying, keep my eyes on God, raise these kids accordingly. And if you keep doing that, you don't need to do things differently. You're being led by God. So there's no need to do it differently.
Right.
He's putting you in the right path.
How do you want your kids to remember you?
I want my kids to remember me exactly how I remember my father when I was a kid, when I thought he was Chuck Norris. I want them to see me as a superhero. I want them to see me as an awesome dad. I want them to see me as I see my Uncle Tom. I want them to see me as a great father. I want them to see me because, I'm in the health field. Certain passings, and I see these kids go crazy. It's sad that those parents were good. Great job. Because the kids love it. I want my kids to see me as something like that. I want them to see me, most importantly, how I see my mom. My mom on the show, but I tell you, my mom was a superhero. I was looking at my father, thinking he's a superhero, and then I had Wonder Woman right there. Because my mom is a fighter, and she is a superwoman. And she is a tough act to follow. But I think I found the one that is, That's a huge blessing, huge blessing. But definitely want my kids to see me as I see my mom. That's very important to me.
Nice. Wow. 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 And what, and just to wrap up again, I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. And just to wrap up for the last question, what do you want the dads, the father figures out there to know?
Um, I would like them to know that, this ain't easy. Just want them to know, like, what you have is a blessing, and the role that you take super extremely important because you have a life that you're in charge of. That's not something you take lightly. That's not a joke. That means you are very important. You have somebody to look up to you. That means you got to do what you got to do. Keep fighting, fight. Try to be the best father you can be. Try to understand these kids, and hopefully, they will grow. I'm religious, so I would tell them try to do everything in God.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's been a long time coming. This conversation is deep, is rich, and I love it. I mean, I love it. Again, I don't. I We grew up together. For our fathers are brothers,
Hmm.
but I spend the summer at your house, and we have so much stories
Oh
to
yeah.
tell. But I don't, and I didn't know your journey in life. I mean, I know that's just a snippet of what you told us today, but even listening to you right now, I had no idea of the things that you went through. I had no idea this obstacle that you was in your way, that it was so vast, it was so big. That's the essence of doing this right now, because I grew up with you guys, and I grew up with my siblings, and I grew up with my cousins. I just don't know your personal story, and the fact that you come up with, and tell me everything that you tell me right now and open. I know it's not only just for me, it's for others out there that are, trying to do better, and understanding how this parenting thing is not easy, but you have to take it by the
Oh yeah.
horns and lead the way. You know, you have to just like be intentional with being a father. Sometimes, you don't plan
Hmm.
it, but a lot of things in life you don't have to plan. You just know you're going to step into that role and take charge, because these things are not easy. You being in your kid's life
Oh
matters.
yes.
If you're not there, it does make a difference. I'm telling you right now, from a person that went through it, if your father's not there, it makes such a big difference,
Huge.
because the authoritative role makes a difference. The father role makes a difference. Him being there makes a difference, and him not being there make an even bigger difference. So we have to be intentional of being a dad. Take your job as a parent, as a father, as a dad
Seriously,
seriously,
because
because those things
yep.
matters in the future. Sometimes we have a tendency of thinking only like today, but we need to think about what's going to happen when these kids
Yes.
grow up, how they're going to turn out to be, and how do you want them to be? What kind of knowledge do we want to plug into them? We want to invest in them now, so when they go into the future, they don't have that difficulty. They don't have a restriction. You want to have the doors open and not closed for them, and that's what this platform is for. This is what we're doing. This is why I love doing this so much, because I get to hear different stories. I get to hear how you survive, and I get to hear how you able to become a better person. Even though you went through this hardship, it didn't break you. It made you
Yeah.
even stronger. And I appreciate that, and I love that you become an example to, not only for me, but for other dads out there. You're doing a phenomenal job. You're doing a great job. Again, you're an example for me. I have a lot of catch up to do as far as a child. I'm not rushing it right now. I have one in my hand. You're two ahead of
That's
me.
right.
Maybe I
I'm
can
up.
have another one or two.
I'm up
I'm not
three.
saying I'm not saying no to it. I'm not saying no to it. But look, I just want to applaud you
I'm too
for
excuse me.
who you are,
Thank you.
what you are, and what you're doing right now as far as being a father. You're doing a phenomenal job. You are a great example, and there's a reason why my siblings were talking about you, because you are a good example. My sister, that's not a mom yet, Gael, she talks about you. Gamanuel talks about you. Like, I'm telling you, there's a reason why your name comes up, because you're doing exactly what you need to do as a father,
Thank you.
as a friend, as a dad, and you're doing it well. So you continue doing what you're doing, continue being amazing, continue being a great husband to your wife, and continue having God take charge in your life. And I'm encouraging you, and I'm also encouraging others out there to do the same thing. Take this step seriously. Fatherhood, being a dad is
Oh
serious.
yes.
It have a serious impact. And again, I want to just thank you. Maxine, Max, for taking this opportunity to just be vulnerable, be open, and tell me your story, man. I love it. I can talk to you for another hour or so, and I'm just so intrigued by this conversation. It's for me. I talk less and I let you talk more, and that's how I would like it to be. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that you're able to come here and tell me your story, man.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, the funny thing is because I'm also looking at you and taking some of your stuff too. I'm robbing everybody. I'm telling you, man. I take ideas from everybody.
That's how it is.
Yep.
That's how it is. That's how we have to do. We have to learn from each other. Yeah. Get the positive and learn from the negatives, and just plug it into our kids and do better. Just do better. We had to learn how to be a better version of ourselves, so our kids could be a better version of ourselves. Be more. Be intentional. Be intentional. Be intentional with being a dad. Be intentional of being a dad. I mean, I know I repeat that. I want to drive it in. Be intentional of being a dad. It makes such a big difference. All right, guys. I won't hold you any longer. I just want to thank my cousin Max for coming to this podcast, for being open, being vulnerable, being just spreading everything out. So I will catch you guys in a few. Bye. For more Dear Dad podcasts, visit Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Make sure you check Dear Dad Podcast on your favorite Instagram social media platform at Dear Dad Podcast. Catch you later.